The culmination of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the 10th canto. We read the philosophy of bhakti. We learn in the previous cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam the science of creation, the inconceivable power and potency of the Lord, and the various levels of realization. The culmination is to understand Krishna. When that supreme absolute truth descended from the spiritual world into this world to perform pastimes of most intimate love with his own devotees. And the culmination of the 10th canto are these 5 chapters of the Rasa Lila, which you have been discussing and reading from here in the Srimad Bhagavatam classes at Radha Gopinath temple. So, in the previous verses, we read how Krishna wanted to satisfy his devotees. The gopis, they were innocent, simple, and pure. They were already way beyond all the other yogic processes. They just wanted to serve and love Krishna. In their total humility, they didn't think themselves in any way superior to anyone else, because that kind of mentality is due to some sort of starvation in the heart, where we have this need. I'm better than others. And it's unquenchable, because however much we get, there's always a competition that we have to somehow or other overcome. Birth after birth after birth is this insecurity to try to somehow or other attain a superior position, and then against the odds of time and against the odds of the world of dualities, we try to keep this position. Kamala dala jala jivana talamala. But it is all like a drop of water on a lotus leaf, at the best. Our wealth, our power, our fame, our so-called superior position. Drop of water on a lotus cannot remain. At any moment. One little wind. You see, the lotus leaf cannot keep that drop on it. Because against the power of the lotus leaf, a wind will come. And when the wind comes, the water slips right off. And there's not even a trace that it ever existed. That's the nature of these things. Yet we see in the huge population of humanity within this world, almost everyone is trying to get that drop and trying to cling to that drop. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. This human life is very special. It's extremely rare. Because in the human life we have the opportunity to realize the eternal treasure of Krishna Prema. The highest, most inclusive liberation. But Maya is so strong. This illusory energy induces a human being. The Jivatma may have passed through 8,400,000 species of life. And please do not take this lightly. Because in most all of these 8,400,000 species of life, we have a body that we're just as attached to as we have now. We have mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends. And we're looking for food, and we're looking for protection, and we're looking for pleasure. The animals, the birds, the fish, they suffer just like we do. They cling to their happiness just like we do. Death is dramatic. Yesterday, I took an airplane from Patna to Delhi and then changed flights to Mumbai. The flight from Patna boarded at about 8 o'clock at night. And we had to walk through the tarmac and walk up the steps and go into the airplane. And in the airplane, and I was seated near the front. People like to be in the front. But on this day, what you like to do is the worst thing you could do. Because there were hundreds and hundreds of hungry mosquitoes. Because it was dark outside, it was light in the plane, so all the mosquitoes from all directions, they flew inside the airplane. And they were all near the front. And literally, when you go in the airplane, there was just swarms and swarms and swarms of mosquitoes. And I was thinking, because people were very upset. There were people who were complaining, I paid so much money for this airplane, and I paid extra to sit in the front, and now I'm getting eaten by mosquitoes. Why don't you people spray the airplane and kill all these mosquitoes? And people were swatting mosquitoes and everything. And I was just thinking that whoever was swatting and whoever was, they didn't even spray, I don't think. Because by the time I reached Mumbai, they were eating me all the way here. But anyways, that mosquito, with no, for most people, devotees are supposed to be different. But for most mosquitoes, when you swap and kill a mosquito, you don't even think twice about it. Yes? But for that mosquito, do you know what a trauma, what a crisis, what a tragedy that is? For something that's not even worth thinking about for a second. That mosquito, the reason he's biting you is because that mosquito is desperately trying to enjoy and maintain its life. He's biting you because he's totally attached to the body he's in and the senses. Now, you may not think it's too significant, the senses of a mosquito. Now, you may not have expected this type of explanation of the Rasa Lila. But we'll come to that later. We must approach it with some realization. That little mosquito loves its life. It might have a tiny little brain. I don't even know what kind of brain. The senses are so tiny and small. But us compared to the mosquito, what are the senses of the demigods? What is the brain of the demigods? Compared to the devatas in the higher regions of this universe, our brains and senses are like little mosquitoes. Everything is very relative. So that mosquito is going through a major, major crisis and trauma of death. The concept of paradukkha dukkhi, that another person's happiness is my happiness. Another person's suffering is my suffering. Not only makes us compassionate and respectful to all living beings, but it also actually helps us appreciate the opportunity we have in our human life. Because everything is so flickering and so fleeting. So we have gone through birth, old age, disease, and death probably way more than 8,400,000 times, with the same kind of experience that you're going to have of death in this life if you're not self-realized. That's what it takes to come to this human form. And in this human form, we have the opportunity to understand our eternal nature, our eternal goal. And all of our dharmas, all of our duties, responsibilities, our religions, our relationships, are meant to harmonize with and facilitate this ultimate goal of life. That's what bhakti yoga is. The path by which everything is harmonized with pleasing Krishna, with loving Krishna, with liberating ourselves from the ego and the attachments of the ego.